Be Here Now is about the search for joy and against all odds. I'm addicted to podcasts, and I came across a podcast of someone talking about having Schmitz syndrome, which that she had a brain tumor, and all of a sudden she was having these seizures, and with the seizures came these ecstatic religious experiences. And she said she was generally a depressive person, and for the first time in her life she was finding joy and meaning in life, and she became religious, and she was just happy for the first time. And then she learned she had to have it removed, and she did have it removed, and had regretted losing that, like mourned that joy for the rest of her life. So I thought, oh, this is definitely a play. Yeah, I belong to this writers group. It's all women. They live near me. I live about an hour north of Manhattan. They're all novelists. I'm the only playwright, and they are my lifeline. I just adore these women. We're all, they're all characters, I guess myself included. And I wanted to write, and our friendship is one of the most meaningful things in my life. And yet I find them hilarious. And they're all like, every one of those women believes in astrology and in magical thinking, and I'm all science-based and realism. And so I am Barry. I'm the wet blanket in the room. And when I first wrote the play, I had almost all the women in the play, and little by little I had to lose characters to make it really succinct and producible. But they were all in there to start with. Well, another inspiration for this play, usually I research for like a year before I do a play, and so everything that's happening in my life trickles in. And I was taking yoga and trying to do it very, very regularly, but I'm the kind of person who the instructor would say, okay, really try to quiet the chitter chatter, and I'd be like, I have things to think about, okay? I don't have an hour to waste just thinking about my breathing. And one day I decided to just give in and just breathe when she told me to breathe. She was one of those instructors who you only breathe when she tells you, every single breath for that whole hour. And I just gave in, and by the end, when we were doing our Shavasana, for the first time I really allowed it to be meditative, and I just was weeping by the end of it. There was something really profound about just being present and just allowing somebody else to take over and not be so controlling of my mind for a while. So that was a very big part of what brought me to this play. You know, I researched a lot online about Schmitz syndrome, and I found a lot of podcasts where people were talking about having it and finding joy and losing it and being really depressed. And also the symptoms of Schmitz syndrome is like hyperloquacity, so people talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and they write and write and write and write, and they either become hypersexual or hyposexual, and have these like just glorious religious experiences. And I thought, that's a character right there. And so I wanted to start with her being a really negative, kind of nasty misanthrope, so that she had a long way to travel. Cincinnati produced my play, Leveling Up. They did the premiere of that, and I just fell in love with Cincinnati, and I had an amazing experience there. And a couple years later, Blake called me and asked if I would accept a commission to write a play, and that's when I wrote Be Here Now. And when they produced Be Here Now, which was really a really joyful experience, Blake and I went out for coffee, and he said, I think this is actually a trilogy, and we're going to commission you to write the second, which I've just finished. I'm going to go in a couple weeks to Cincinnati and do a workshop of it, and hopefully they'll be doing it next year. Right now it's called #LiftMeUp. all of my plays in some way are about searching for meaning and fulfillment in life and looking outside ourselves to find it and ultimately finding it around them with the people in their lives. So I think it's very much in keeping with the rest of my plays. And so writing a trilogy, they all take place in the same town upstate, but also thematically they're very much about the search for joy and meaning. Yes, I had 2 children, and that was probably the biggest change you could have in life. There's no going back, and yeah, but very happy about it. Wow. Actually, my friend Deborah wrote The Band's Visit, I generally love straight plays more than musicals, but The Band's Visit absolutely transported me. I saw it twice, which I rarely do. I loved it. I love that. I love that show. My friends make me happy, my family, and theater. Really, sometimes I wish I had a lot of other interests, but really it's theater. The only traveling I really do is when I have shows. I'm going to be going to Budapest in October because I have a production there. So, and luckily I have a family that's very patient with my singular interest in life. Be Here Now is for anyone with a beating heart, I would say. maybe over 10. Anyone over 10 with a beating heart. They can expect to be deeply moved and very entertained, and to laugh just almost non-stop except when they're crying.